Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a profound shift in how we interact with the physical world around us, drawing from a really fantastic white paper by NTT Data. We're talking about smart connected products. For decades, buying a product was kind of like sending a kid off to college. Once it left the house, you rarely heard from it again. But today, by integrating digital tech like AI and the Internet of Things, that initial sale, it's just the beginning of a vibrant, ongoing conversation. We are shifting entirely from one-time transactions to dynamic, service-based relationships. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 5 key areas: the missing link, the smart maturity model, rethinking the business model, the reference architecture, and finally, human-centric design sprints. Let's get going.
Section 1. The missing link.
So, to really understand this leap, think about the traditional blind spot companies have faced for, well, generations. A company ships a product, and then absolute silence. That silence is finally broken by smart, connected products. We define these as electromechanical systems equipped with processors, sensors, and connectivity that enable a continuous exchange of data. And what's truly revolutionary here isn't just that the product has a chip shoved inside it, it's that connectivity fundamentally moves capabilities outside the physical shell of the device and straight into the cloud. The product literally becomes a living, breathing node in a much larger network. And this brilliantly illustrates the paradigm shift we're talking about. The smart connected product acts as the missing puzzle piece. It physically bridges the gap between the customer's environment out there in the real world and the enterprise IT systems on the inside, things like your CRM or your product lifecycle management. Because the customer can be closely observed while actually using the product, vendors can continuously increase its value through software enhancements. It completely changes the game from a one-and-done transactional handoff to a continuous, evolving relationship. Now, early on, a lot of companies just viewed this connectivity as a simple way to improve operational efficiency. Doing things like remote failure prediction or pushing out basic software updates. And hey, that's great. But the real magic happens when you move to the strategic value propositions. We're talking about entirely new ways of doing business. Imagine a tractor company that doesn't just sell you a vehicle, but actually charges a subscription for highly specific microclimate farming data. That is the power of gathering massive data intelligence and forming entirely new ecosystem partnerships. Section 2. The smart maturity model. Knowing you want to build a smart product is one thing, right? But how do you actually measure your progress? Well, NTT Data developed this Smart Product Maturity Index to map out a clear step-by-step climb. It starts at step 1, being simply connectable, where you might just push an offline software update. Then it climbs up to observable, with one-way data flows, up to controllable for two-way interaction, adaptable for closed-loop optimization, and finally, the holy grail at step 5, intelligent, where the product actually features autonomous, self-learning capabilities. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the matrix breaks down those 5 levels across specific functional dimensions. If you look at adaptation, for instance, a basic product is just configured with fixed parameters. But as it matures to the intelligent column on the far right, it uses trained machine learning models to recognize scenarios and autonomously self-adjust based on past usage. It goes from being a rigid piece of hardware to a dynamic learning entity. It's a real game changer. Continuing with the matrix, we see how things like human-machine interfaces evolve. But I want to draw your attention specifically to security at the bottom. As products become more connected, the attack vectors just multiply. You can't just rely on hidden, obfuscated protocols anymore. That doesn't cut it. By the time a product reaches full maturity, it absolutely requires active self-defense. We're talking anomaly detection that spots malicious activities in the field and actively responds to protect the whole ecosystem.
Section 3. Rethinking the business model.
It is absolutely crucial to remember that technology, no matter how cool or advanced, doesn't add value per se. If you don't align this deck with a strategy that customers will actually pay for, well, you just have a very expensive science fair project. This is where rethinking the business model unlocks incredibly lucrative revenue streams. Instead of a single upfront purchase, you can monetize digital upgrades, charge recurring subscriptions for actionable insights, or even bundle in adjacent services like usage-based insurance. It's all about securing continuous, recurring revenue. To pull this off, NTT Data proposes this smart product business canvas. And listen, this isn't just about tweaking your sales pitch. It forces you to judge your entire organizational readiness. Look at the key resources and key activities.
Suddenly, a traditional hardware company needs top-tier software engineers, 24/7 cloud operations, and dedicated security operations centers. It demands a fundamental rewiring of the company's entire DNA.
Section 4, the reference architecture.
Okay, let's move into the technical blueprint. It's highly unlikely your first smart product is going to reach the highest maturity level on day one, so you need an evolutionary foundation. That foundation is broken down into 4 distinct tiers. First, the device tier, for real-time processing right there on the hardware. Second, the edge tier, placing compute power in close physical proximity. Third is the cloud tier, offering virtually unlimited scalability. And finally, the ecosystem tier, connecting your product to the wider work.
So, the crucial point is how these 4 tiers actually talk to each other. Standardization and flexibility are achieved through APIs, application programming interfaces. These act as universal translators across the application and service layers. This modular approach is huge because it means you can scale up your cloud resources or swap out ecosystem partners without having to completely redesign the physical device sitting right there in your customer's living room. When you finally reach that ecosystem tier, you have 2 primary strategic choices. The outside-in strategy is where customers bring their preferred services to your product, like, say, letting them pay for a subscription using their existing PayPal account. Conversely, the inside-out strategy is where you push your product into a wider ecosystem to increase its value, like ensuring your smart thermostat seamlessly integrates with Amazon Alexa. Both approaches are essential.
Now, to avoid reinventing the wheel, companies can leverage existing assets to rapidly prototype these architectures. The NTT Data Toolbox provides some fantastic real-world building blocks. Hotspot serves as an end-to-end IoT backbone. IV provides conversational frameworks. Demertra handles the complex microservices for subscriptions. And 5G campus networks provide the reliable wireless infrastructure to test the whole shebang. It's all about accelerating your time to market.
Section 5, Human-Centric Design Sprints. With all this talk of APIs and edge computing, it is dangerously easy to lose sight of the end user. But technology is completely useless if it doesn't solve genuine human problems. That's exactly why the Explainer recommends a highly structured, intensive 2-day design sprint. Day 1 is all about the problem, morning need-finding interviews, followed by afternoon synthesis. Then, Day 2 shifts to the solution, morning sketching, culminating in the afternoon with rapid prototyping and pitching to uncover your minimum viable product, or MVP. Let's move to and see how this builds a brilliant diamond-shaped pattern mopping the whole process. You start by opening up the problem space wide, exploring literally every possible challenge the user faces, before converging down onto a single key problem. Then you open up the solution space again, brainstorming a wide range of creative ideas, before finally converging on the specific features to prototype. It effectively prevents teams from building brilliant solutions for problems that don't actually exist.
And that brings us to the broader impact of this massive transformation. First, we shape our smart products, then our smart products shape us. As we evolve from standalone devices to interconnected digital twins of entire supply chains and customer populations, these products will fundamentally alter how we live, manufacture, and interact with the world. The intelligence we build today will absolutely inform our own behaviors tomorrow.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought drawn from Michael Porter's strategic framework. You have to ask yourself, should your company change its business model to enter entirely new businesses by monetizing your product data? The shift from a physical product to a connected service isn't just a trend, it's inevitable. The only question is whether you'll be the one capturing that continuous value or if you'll be left behind making the silent hardware of the past. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.